What up, LK Mafia? It's your boy Artofkickz, and just like that, we back with another one. Alright, y'all, so yesterday we hit 500,000 subscribers right here on YouTube. 500,000.
I found this on.
Nobody said Siri. Look, Ghost, man, they over here calling Siri for me. Did y'all hear me say anything to Siri? No, y'all didn't. I didn't say Siri. Siri didn't come out my mouth. But anyway, y'all, even Script Work hit me up today, man. They called me, both of them. They was on phone together. They congratulated your boy, and they were like, man, yo, YouTube should do something for 500,000 subscribers, man. There should be some type of reward or plaque. I was like, yeah, man. I agree. There should be, because I always thought, like, yo, once you hit 500K, 500,000, that's a big deal. That is a big deal. That's 500,000 freaking people that is subscribed to you, support you, and rock with you, and or in this case with me. And I appreciate every single one of you. You guys, you don't understand how big this is to me. My mind is still blown that we were able to do this. It's not easy. It is not easy. Heck, just earlier today, YouTube took down one of my videos literally minutes after it went up. I got this scary email from YouTube earlier this morning about one of my dang on videos that I did maybe a week ago or so, and how it violated something when it came to like kid safety and whatnot. So that kind of scared me. They was like, yo, if it happens again, you're not going to be able to post for an entire week. And I was like, bro, I post 3 times a day. How you going to do that to me? You know what a week is in my life years? That's like 7 months to me. No, I can't. No, I will make sure that that doesn't happen ever again. And basically, I know people are asking, what happened? What happened? So real quick, I'll tell you what happened. I reacted to somebody else's dang on compilation of, you know, instant regret. It was an instant regret video, and I instantly regretted reacting to it. Now I'm just playing. I was going to do another one today, you know, make fun. But anyway, so basically, a couple of kids in that video, you know, they did something. They brought it on themselves. And I'm pretty sure they regretted doing it, but, you know, even if kids are causing slight harm to themselves, YouTube is like kind of strict on that stuff. So I understand. I completely understand. And from now on, no more kids in my videos. Nope, not me. Not doing it. Not about to take that chance. I'm gonna put a block on my channel for a whole week just because some kid wanted to hit himself in the nuts. Look, that ain't got nothing to do with me. That ain't got nothing to do with me. But anyway, see, look, I told y'all was gonna get a UFO sighting video. I was watching the rest of that podcast I was telling y'all about with Joe Rogan yesterday, and I'm like, oh my God, aliens are real. They're real. And they're here. But anyway, we're about to check this out. Y'all, this is another top 10 UFO sightings. This is Watch Mojo. I've been a fan of Watch Mojo for years. I have never reacted to any of their content. It's been a while. Probably been a year since I've watched one of their videos, but I haven't seen this one, and we're about to watch it together. Y'all boys and girls ready? I'm ready. Let's go.
People have been seeing strange things in the sky for centuries. For this list, we're taking a look at even more documented cases in which people spotted an unidentified flying object, suggesting that we might not be alone in the universe. Number 10. Rendlesham Forest. Described as Britain's Roswell, the story here is that over a series of nights in December 1980, multiple personnel at the nearby Royal Air Force Woodbridge Base in Suffolk saw a UFO. The fact that they were high-ranking soldiers adds credibility to their tale of lights in the sky, damaged trees, abnormally high radiation, and even a report of finding an actual spacecraft parked in the forest late at night. Today, the incident is commemorated by a triangular, spaceship-shaped statue placed in what is alleged to be the original landing site along Rendlesham's UFO trail.
That's crazy.
Number 9. The Tehran UFO Sightings. Sometimes called the most documented UFO encounter ever by believers and ufologists, the Tehran UFO incident of 1976 definitely took the Iranian military by surprise. It was late at night in the city of Tehran, Iran, when citizens began calling the Air Force Base to inform them of bright lights in the sky. They couldn't find anything on the radar, but when a commander went outside, he saw the lights with his own eyes.
And see, like, this right here lines up with what they were talking about on the podcast. They were like, these things are not detectable by radar. They're capable of jamming all type of signals from anything military or anything at all when it comes to human technology. Like, the theories that they were having on this podcast just kind of like baffle me, the possibilities. And a little bit later on in this video, I want to share some of those theories with you guys, stuff that you probably have never heard before. And oh man, it's just kind of, I love thinking about the possibilities, because come on now, we're not alone. Don't be silly.
And ordered pilots to go up in F-4 fighter jets to investigate.
What?
Pilots reported their instruments not working and the light strobing between various colors, and they even attempted to open fire on the object. Those strange malfunctions in the planes prevented their weapons from functioning.
The high rate of climb and high rate of acceleration that we saw from the UFO was something which was not existed those days.
Number 8. The Flatwoods Monsters spacecraft. On September 12, 1952, one of folklore's creepiest monsters was discovered in West Virginia. A 10-foot-tall entity with glowing red eyes, a diamond-shaped head, and a shadowy exoskeleton.
What?
This was the Flatwoods Monster, an alleged extraterrestrial. And like all good aliens, it also had a spaceship, described as a pulsating, glowing ball of red light that hovered above the ground. The craft was first seen flying across the sky earlier on in the evening by 3 young boys, who then went out looking for it. They tracked it down and eventually found the monster hiding in the shadows. The creature supposedly hissed at them before fleeing back to its ship.
I've never heard about this or seen that before. That's interesting.
Number 7. The Black Knight Satellite. People are never beyond suggesting that NASA is involved in a myriad of top-secret cover-ups related to alien life. And one of the most well-known conspiracy theories originated from these photos of a mysterious object orbiting our planet. While the images were released by NASA in 1998, there are multiple reports of this unusual object dating back as far as 1899, when it was supposedly heard during unusual radio transmissions. While conspiracy theorists say this is an alien satellite that could be up to 13,000 years old, NASA says it's merely a thermal blanket, lost during a routine EVA mission. Number 6. The Voronezh Incident. This is one of the weirdest UFO stories out there. In 1989, the residents of this small city in Russia reported seeing some aliens out for a walk in a local park after landing their spacecraft in the area. While only a group of children described seeing the aliens, multiple other citizens reported seeing the ship. The ship was described as a ball that transformed into a disc and then landed. And its inhabitants were 3-eyed aliens and a robot who allegedly abducted a 16-year-old boy.
What? 3-eyed aliens and a robot that abducted a 16-year-old boy. Oh, the robot did. Y'all, I got some stuff to tell y'all, man. Hold on. We're going to get there. Hold on.
E.T.'s ship was even seen by a police lieutenant and reported on officially by the Telegraph Agency of the Soviet Union. Number 5. The Leveland UFO case. In 1957, an egg-shaped spacecraft was reported by many eyewitnesses in the small town of Leveland, Texas. It was first spotted by 2 farmhands who reported it to the local police.
Whoa.
They described seeing a bright blue flash while driving that made their truck die. The craft then appeared and flew above them, and was described by a different witness who saw it later in the evening as a, quote, brilliantly lit, egg-shaped object about 200 feet long.
We have reports of an unidentified flying object. It is a long, smooth shaft, complete with 2 balls. What is that?
But the most extraordinary thing about this case is that so many people saw it and gave almost identical reports of a giant glowing egg. Number 4. The Westall UFO. April 6, 1966 was...
Yo, like... What? I've never heard of these stories, man.
Just an ordinary school day in Melbourne, Australia, until at 11 a.m., 200 kids and teachers reported witnessing a UFO descend into a nearby paddock. One student described it as being capable of both hovering in place and moving incredibly
Wait, this might be one of the stories that they mentioned on the podcast.
fast. And a teacher reported seeing multiple aircraft trying to engage the spaceship, though it was much too fast for them. Then, without warning, it disappeared. It remains the most witnessed daylight UFO sighting in history. And spookily, the staff and children were instructed not to talk to the media about what they'd seen.
They were certainly Australian government, and I think it was part of their job to keep everything quiet.
Number 3. Japan Airlines Flight 1628. In 1986, while flying over Alaska, an international flight from Paris to Tokyo had a close encounter of the third kind, with multiple UFOs reported. These UFOs were seen by all of the experienced flight crew, including the pilot, Captain Kenju Terauchi, an ex-fighter pilot with more than 10,000 flying hours under his belt.
What?
UFO witnesses don't get much more credible than that. The UFOs were balls of bright light that flew all around the outside of the plane, and Terauchi described them as flying, quote, as if there was no such thing as gravity.
Man, see, this is crazy. He said those things were moving and flying as if there's no such thing as gravity. All right. Now, before we get to these last two clips, I want to talk about some of the stuff that they were saying in this podcast. I'm going to make it super quick, but they were saying the possibilities. Like, even Joe Rogan said something I've been saying since I was a kid. He was like, man, this universe is too vast for us to be the only creatures or the only planet that inhabits creatures. I highly doubt that. But they were also saying, like, you know, for us to be human beings in the sense that we are, and how quickly we have developed into the beings that we are, into the humans that we are today, and on top of that being far different, far vastly different than any other creature on this planet, capable of seeing, doing, and creating things on a level that no other creature can, which is why I'm so appreciative to be a human being. If you're not, let that be something to attach yourself to. In my darkest days, it was that single thought that I should be very, very appreciative to be a human being, far capable of so much. But anyway, besides that, sorry I had to divert, but that was on my mind. I had to let you hear that. But anyway, it's also to think, what if there's a strong possibility that aliens potentially are somewhat like us, and they came to this planet with the hopes of speeding up the process of us developing from apes to who we are today. While at the same time, some believe that aliens still exist here, but we can't see them in their form, and they're hiding out, and they will present themselves to us if and when they want to. And it's funny, it's because it's almost like in right now what's happening is known that aliens are presenting their presence to us right now, but they're also controlling how much of them we see and how much of what we see we believe. Now, with the military and the Pentagon coming out now saying that UFOs do exist, unidentified flying objects. But it's funny because we always thought, what if aliens came to this planet? What would they do to us? Probably try to probe us, or, you know, take us back to their mothership and study us, examine us. It's the same thing, vice versa. No one is quite saying that aliens exist, but they are saying that there are unidentified flying objects that keep showing up in our atmosphere, in our space, and potentially detect, but they can't get a hold to them. What it is that they want to do is kind of how we think aliens want to do with us, in regards to finding out what these things are, getting a hold of them, and studying them, because it has so much more to do right now with the crafts, because they can't understand how they're moving through space as if gravity doesn't exist. They're moving far too fast. We don't know who's doing this. They think it could be the Russians or it could be extraterrestrial. They do not know, but they want to get a hold of it so they can study the technology, so they can potentially duplicate it, so that we, as the U.S. citizens, can be ahead of the curve. Like, that's what's happening right now with these UFO sightings. And it's quite fascinating to think about that possibility.
2. The Travis Walton abduction. On November 5th, 1975,
I wish somebody would abduct this Travis.
a group of loggers in Arizona reported seeing a flying saucer out in the woods while riding in a truck. All 7 of them witnessed the craft, but Travis Walton was the only one who got out to investigate, and subsequently the only one who was abducted.
That's Travis's for you, man. Look, I thought about it earlier today. I was like, what would I do if I saw a UFO? Like, actually saw one. Like, can you think about it for a moment? Like, you looking at this thing that is clearly not of this earth, and the structure of it is far different than anything we've ever seen, as well as the beings, the creatures that could potentially come out of it is far different than anything that we could have possibly imagined in our mind in regards to how these beings or creatures would look. Think about that. Think about that. Like what you think you would see versus what you actually see in regards to the ship and the inhabitants. Like, I thought about it. I was like, I would probably freak out. I would probably freak out and go crazy. Oh my God. We're not ready. Whew. We are not ready, but I think that they're trying to prepare us for something. When I say they, I mean this country. They know something. They know something. And I have more stories, y'all. I have more stories. Stuff that I've personally been told. Oh man. I mean, stuff gets crazy. Stuff gets crazy.
The woods were searched for 5 days before Walton mysteriously reappeared, telling stories of spaceships and aliens. And he and his co-workers were eventually awarded a $5,000 prize for having the, quote, best UFO case of the year.
Wow. All right, now I want you guys to think about this other theory right quick too. All right, so look at the alien. Look at how this alien looks. Another theory that's kind of in the air right now in regards to why the aliens look the way they do is potentially because, like, if these are creatures or beings that are far, far smarter than us, maybe if the smarter we get, the more like them we will become and look. So basically they're, even Joe Rogan was talking about it. He was saying when it comes to skin, like human skin, they're trying to toughen up the skin because obviously it's something that's very, very fragile and it's easy to penetrate. They're trying to toughen up the human skin. What if alien skin is like that? They've figured that out. They've perfected that science, as well as Elon Musk on another podcast, Joe Rogan podcast, was talking about the possibility that in the future we will be able to communicate amongst one another without speaking, without verbally speaking. It's almost like we're kind of merging and become somewhat of a droid, an android. And like over time we're figuring out how to live much longer. And it's like, what if there's beings out there that were once very similar to us, but they have advanced to this level? And mind you, they don't look too appealing, but they don't even care about that anymore because that's not what's important. The physical look is not important as the understanding of the world, of the universe, the understanding of life, the understanding of longevity, the understanding of being healthy. Like, it's amazing to think they could be us, but so much further ahead than us. Like, I love it. I love it. Love the science fiction, baby.
Were eventually awarded a $5,000 prize for having the, quote, best UFO case of the year when they supposedly passed a polygraph test proving the events to be true.
Wow.
Before we unveil our number one pick, here are some honorable mentions.
Look at that. Everybody's looking up at that too. That looks legit. It's an old picture, but everybody was looking up at that sucker. Flying saucer chased by National Guard.
Number 1. The Hill Abduction. In 1961, Barney and Betty Hill were driving back home after a romantic getaway in Niagara Falls when their lives permanently changed.
Oh. Yo, okay, so another thing Joe Rogan was talking about on his podcast is he had this female UFC fighter on there, and he was talking to this girl. She was, UFC fighter, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the interview, after the interview was over, she mentioned something. She was like, oh, I forgot to mention something in the daggone interview on this podcast. Oh, crap. I'm the granddaughter of this family, this Hill family. And he was like, what? You're like, how did you neglect to freaking mention that until right now? Yeah, I love watching Joe Rogan. I'm going to link the podcast that I'm telling you about. It's going to blow your mind. I'm going to link it down below. But yeah, so I'm like, oh crap, that is freaking crazy. She is the grandfather of this guy. This is a crazy story.
After spotting something in the sky they initially thought to be a plane,
Granddaughter.
the Hills stepped out and found themselves abducted by aliens.
Yeah.
Returned hours later, They reported the incident to the Air Force, who had no explanation, and eventually went on to have hypnotherapy to recall their experience through flashbacks and drawings. While Barney died in 1969, Betty lived until she was 85 and never stopped telling people about the alien she met who took her away and showed her the stars.
That's
Do you agree
crazy.
with our picks? Check out these other great clips from Watch Mojo.
That's crazy. So people think, and what also makes it so fascinating, their story is because, and during their time, interracial relationships were kind of frowned upon. So a lot of, African American, white American people would not want to draw a lot of attention to themselves. So for this event to happen and for them to feel so passionate about it in the way that they did, this was a story that they felt was worth telling, even though they knew that it can jeopardize their relationship. I'm like, it's crazy. It's crazy, y'all. Woo! But I don't know. I want y'all to comment down below what y'all think, man. Do y'all think aliens are real? I'm telling you right now, I do. I don't. They could look like us. I hope that they look like us. But man, the stories, there's so much. The stories that I've heard doing a little research with these podcasts and stuff, as well as the stories that I've been told. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. Anyway, I'm going to let y'all go ahead and ponder yourselves. But you know what time it is. Like this reaction. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for more. As always, a link to the video is going to be down in the description box below. If you haven't already, make sure you follow your boy right here on Grandma and Twitter at Artofkickz. Till the next one.